that In Memory of Gabe was able to just force onto SoaR.
Yeah, this time around, one game in the way of In Memory of Gabe. We'll see if they can win it in 2, or if SoaR will stretch the evening out even longer. Banning phase going on right now. I think we expect to see the Scotty bans. I think we expect to see the maybe Sylvanas bans. Chang'a's up in the conversation. Definitely Cabrakan. I don't think we're seeing Cabrakan today.
Yeah, no.
And there's a Scotty already, and like you mentioned, I would be very surprised to see a Cabrakan break through at this point in time, unless somebody's trying to pull out the Nemesis.
If Cabrakan gets through straight up, it's because homie forgot. We've seen that time. And like, it's funny, but we've seen that happen where you're 6 hours into the tournament and then they didn't ban Zeus. Oh man, there we go, right? Kepri got through in a very famous match with the old enemy squad because they just forgot to ban it against Pain.
It only took us 45 minutes to forget Chang'a was OP.
See, it happens. The Fafnir is going to be banned out this time around. So with a Fafnir ban, that means we're going to see something get through. I don't know if it's going to be the Cabrakan, but there's only one slot left. SoaR Gaming, they've got players that'll play it.
Mm-hmm. I take it back. If Cabrakan goes through, Gabe probably has something up their sleeve. We haven't seen everything yet out of Gabe. They've really been allowed to get their comfort picks this entire time, in my personal opinion. I think only against that first game against Oxygen Supremacy did we really see Walrus, if anything, on a more unfamiliar pick with the Odin. But other than that, Gabe's just been having a pretty good time all around.
Yeah, I think if the Cabrakan goes through, you know, I think that's where we see another Thanatos. Well, the Ra's banned, and I personally think that the Ra ban is worth it here against SoaR. Andy, that's his perennial god, this split. But with that, there's a number of highly sought after picks available to SoaR. Which way will purple go?
I would like to see a Cabrakan pick because I think that map pressure is something that SoaR desperately needed. We saw how much it hurt them early on, and right away, first picking that Cabrakan can't really go wrong with such a quintessential pick, as you might say.
Yeah.
And
Are you memeing me?
No, I just had to steal one of your words for once. So I actually like that one. So
it's a good word. It's just when it comes down to it, you know, this pick is just. It's just so important for not just the jungle, but for the meta at the moment. He can play jungle, he can play solo, he can play support, all at a S-tier level. You know, if you put him in mid or hunter, I might look at you funny, but at the end of the day, you still got a Cabrakan on your team, so I'm not really yelling. In memory of Gabe, they've got to answer somehow. What's your answer to a Cabrakan?
Surrender. I mean, honestly,
you gotta wait till 20 minutes.
I
so
forgot it's 20 minutes at land. I would have done it at 10. But either way, I think it goes back to like Cabrakan. What does a Guardian not bring? Pressure in the early game. What does Cabrakan bring? He brings both. So you know, he brings the best of both worlds.
So how do you shut him down?
You have to not let him have any blues. You can't let him get any blues. You know, cut him short on experience. And just get a high-pressure solo lane, you know, one of the highest, Osiris, maybe Hercules, and just make him sit under the tower.
I'm very curious. I've seen Herwin play Nox once or twice. Big silences really mess with Cabrakan, not just for the obvious tremors, but all that he wants to do, run at you with the one, just slamming them together. Silence is going to mess that up. So I'm very curious to see if we see some chalk selection for the solo, or if we see some, everybody's laughing, but seriously, Cabrakan juggles with silence.
I believe in chalk recently. In all honesty, I think that chalk could potentially be a sleeper pick, and not because of your memeage, but
that's what I'm saying.
I have seen way too many games where a chalk just snowballs completely out of control and actually does great, so it wouldn't surprise me. But Gabe living life a little bit on the edge here with that Medusa Chang'a picks. Not really a whole lot of room for error in terms of escaping from a Cabrakan ultimate.
At the same time, Medusa and Chang'a do provide a little bit of disruption if Cabrakan's just in the middle of the team fight wailing away. Both of those characters are really going to capitalize off of you standing still. So it's kind of double-edged blade there for In Memory of Gabe. As the option goes back over to SoaR Gaming, they look to finish their first round of picks. Cabrakan already amongst the ranks of SoaR. We'll see where they go.
Chang'e, actually, on memory of Gabe, is actually a flex pick too. I mean, Heroin loves to play it in the middle lane. And in the middle lane, what does Cabrakan do best? Walls off, you know, your mid lane, just go straight to your back line. What does Chang'e do? She has immunity, very hard to kill. So it's a good counter pick in a sense, even though it's already a top tier pick.
I love the Amaterasu here. Immediately, you were talking, Taco, about how the Guardian selection of Terra wasn't exactly putting Final K in a position to really push forward. And although that selection by itself wasn't wrong per se, it was the composition around it. Amaterasu, on the other hand, kind of does things on her own. Composition be damned. So she's going to come out, provide that sort of aura, provide a lot of help for the team, and also be more of a tool that Final K can leverage forward as opposed to kind of sitting and being passive like Terra.
And on top of that, Amaterasu and Cabrakan, these two options are still definitely flex picks. I mean, it could be support, solo, jungle for Cabrakan, and then for Amma, you don't know whether that's going to go into the support or solo lane. I would like to see it in the support role after seeing the Gabe, but that's just personal preference because Amma, I think, could provide a little bit of excellent early clear. Well, even though she's not necessarily known for early clear, her early game is typically a little bit weaker, but she isn't punished as heavily against something like a Gabe.
Well, I personally know that Amaterasu is one of the favorites for Jigs, just watching him stream and watching him do what he does. He likes the Amaterasu, provided that there is enough peel and enough crowd control sprinkled amongst the rest of the composition. Like I always say, building a team is like balancing an equation. You've got to have all your points and everything really touch base. So if Amy's going to wind up in that long lane without a lot of pure stun outside of the ultimate, well, a Cabrakan is certainly a nice peel choice. Scylla with the root also going to be a positive. So I expect to see that in the hands of Jigs, almost certainly.
And also, looking at the Terra ban, that means Memory of Gabe really thinks Cabrakan is not going solo. They think it's going jungle.
Yeah. And which, you know, absolutely, homie, if he can play the Cabrakan right now, it might be worth it. Harwind, I don't look too thrilled right here. I think they're telling him right now, yeah, you got to play something boring. And he's like, come on, man. No, I want to play
Chang'e.
This is him arguing with Sino about going Gabe jungle.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. They're arguing over who gets to play Chang'e. That's exactly what they're arguing. And as Vamana gets locked in, well, neither of them have their way just yet. Still trying to figure out where Chang'e's going. Gabe will be going in the support role. Medusa will join him, Vamana in the short lane, and Chang'e is the question mark. Does she wind up in the jungle or in the mid lane as a jungler yourself? Do you want Chang'e into this SoaR lineup?
I'm not really a Chang'e main myself, but
cool.
yeah, I mean, I could see it. They have pressure in the solo lane, so it will relieve the jungle side for her to pick up her own speeds. But one thing I do like about the Vamana pick here, he's hot. He's three wins and he's played Vamana every time. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you don't need the synergy. Sometimes you're just doing it right. You know?
That's really, there's three schools of thought, and we speak a lot about two. One is about what happens on the paper. Two is about what happens on the battlefield, and three is, you know what? Sometimes you just got to throw caution to the wind and give it to the hot hand. And right now, Walrus, Vamana, that's the hot hand. Like you said, 3 wins, 0 losses, all on the big baby. Hoyi makes his second appearance here in our Gauntlet Rush. Cupid and Hercules on the other side. But either way, in memory of Gabe, if they win this one, they win it all, and they have to face E-United come Sunday. But SoaR Gaming can absolutely stretch it out just a little bit. It's SoaR versus in memory of Gabe. Do we see a game 3? Let's bring it to the casters and find out. Aggro and Hindu, let her rip.
Let's find out if it is going to be the final game, or can SoaR bring it back to make it a 1-1 and take us into a decider of who plays United on Sunday.
This is a statement ban for me with just that raw from a memory of Gabe. Cabrakan has been
I don't know about that, man.
permabanned. He's been permabanned all day, and finally someone gets him, and it's because Ananster has been so successful on that raw. Let's see if it comes back to haunt in memory of Gabe, because Homie Faye did not look good in game 1.
Well, the
objectively.
Cabrakan for SoaR Gaming here is actually really strong because of the setup they have that will follow up if the Cabrakan initiation is good.
Yep.
You've got the Sillarama monster available, as well as the Crush and the Roots, Cripples from the Cupid, and if all goes to hell, you've still got Hercules and Amaterasu to run down the targets that get away with low health.
You've got a lot of CC for Ananster on this Scylla. I love this draft coming out of SoaR. I love the Amaterasu support. We have not seen a lot of Amaterasu today, and that really surprised me, Hindu, because Amaterasu, one of the winningest gods, all split long, really, really successful both in support and in solo. and teams just kind of seem to forget about that today.
Well, they do, but Jigs has been unusual today, I want to say, picking the Amaterasu and Ares so far. Like, it's not the sort of god pool I've expected to see Jigs on. Normally, it's the likes of Sylvanas, the Gebs, but right now, gone for a bit of a difference, and this time, if you guys fall for this again, I'm done, I'm walking off.
I think...
But it's a double. It's a double.
Please don't walk
because
off.
It's like a yin and a yang in mid lane. Walrus from one side, Final K from the other.
But Final K's heading back.
Oh, no, not again.
Final K's heading back.
Please, no. Homie FA gets
How
knocked
does this
up.
happen again?
Walrus goes on to Andy. The beads, though, from him early on will actually stop the slow, and there's nothing to actually stun Walrus to stop him teleporting to the tower, so he won't lose any farm off that. It may slow down a little bit memory of Gabe's 2-on-2 in the mid lane, just because there was a little bit of farm shared by Walrus.
But SoaR, they did the red buff instead of going to the wave. How many creeps are they going to get there in that dual lane? I think they only got the archers in terms of experience, but probably not in terms of gold. You can see on that dual lane side, SoaR and Snoopy are there trying to steal away the purple.
But they're level 2.
But they're only level 1, and compared to the level 2 of SoaR, SoaR is going to be able to get out going south towards the Gold Fury, and Snoopy's going to ding level 2 just by walking in the lane.
It was risky business from both of Memory of Gabe there, of like trying to get out of that, but luckily enough, the different split worked in their favor. They'll get back to safety. SoaR farms the babies at the purple buff on the left-hand side there, so he will hit level 2 as well, as in mid lane, Ionic and Hurrywind have been chipped down by Homie FA and Aninster.
And this is not what you expect. I mean, Scylla is certainly not the greatest mid laner in terms of clear.
But Cabrakan.
But Cabrakan,
But
exactly.
Cabrakan, right?
Sometimes you forget, you know, you just haven't seen him all day, and you're just like, oh yeah, he clears the wave basically instantly at level 1 with Tremors, just insane amounts of damage coming out of that Guardian in the jungle.
Well, as you look at the minimap now, SoaR's jungle is completely on cooldown other than the blue buff on the right-hand side, so SoaR are going to have to go into Memory of Gabe's jungle to strip some of that. They'll get the purple buff, eat a bit of poke damage there, but Jigs won't mind too much with a Watcher's Gift as well as the stance change, and he'll heal back to full in no time.
Without a doubt. I'm very surprised to see Aninster go for Sands of Time in the mid lane here. Soulstone has just become standard on Scylla. It helps her with the worst part of her game, which is her early wave clear. The new Soulstone buffs just a couple patches ago really helps out that clear. So a little bit surprised to see Andy not go for it. Just accepting that he's not going to clear early on by himself, which tells me Homie Faye is going to be with him considerably in the early game to get him through until Crush is maxed out.
Are Scylla's mana issues really a concern in the early game? Is that one of the reasons? Or is it must be the cooldown then, right?
It's only the cooldown, because Scylla is one of the most, if not the most mana efficient god in the mid lane early on.
Well, for now, it's going to be Aniston picking that up with the Bomber's Mask as well. They're going to be very careful about who's closest to the camp. That's how the new Bomber's Mask will work. Going forward, the closest one to the camp with Bomber's Mask will receive the heal off the minions dying.
And that's why I'm confused about the Bomber's Mask with the Sands of Time. Because like I mentioned, if he's going Sands of Time, he's accepting that he won't clear as early as he would have with Soulstone, which would lead me to believe that Homie Faye is going to be with him a lot in that mid lane. But then they are only getting one instance of Bumba's Mask. Just a little bit of both there, it seems, was the idea. But
got to be cooldown then. That's the only thing I can think of is he really wants that 10%. We'll see what he can make use of that as this goes on. Is level 5 now going to get these back harpies on his own? A little bit more experience worth these back harpies in Season 4, a lot more than Season 3.
Oh, a lot. Yeah, it's not just a little bit of experience in gold. It's a lot. It's more than those mid harpies. So where you normally see mid laners try and solo down mid harpies, it's dangerous and it's really not worth it when you can just go and do some back camps instead. For now, though, SoaR's in a bit of decent spot, better than they were last game. Obviously, they'd already lost a couple of kills by this point, but not getting picked off at the start and into there allows them to stay in this one. And Homie FA having to deal with Ionic and Walrus looking at his elemental. Again, I just love this draft coming out of SoaR. I love this team fighting idea that they've clearly gone for. They've got excellent front line, they've got excellent setup, and great peel on top of that, and just big AoE ultimates that are difficult to deal with.
They see him roll in, and they may be hating in a minute, because Homie FA's forced off the speed buff as well. Don't shake your head at me, I'll say what I want to. Speed buff being contested by both teams now. The mark of the Golden Crow from Hurrywind onto Homie FA, into the Ricochet as well. But the turnaround on Ionic is good. Better waxing Noon from SoaR, and Nista in the back though.
He's waiting, but can't quite find that I'm a Monster. Hurrywind finds the kill onto Homie FA
dancing.
As Ionic falls. Jigs 1 HP, and Walrus going to be able to pick him up.
I tell you what, SoaR danced his way out of danger then. Final K was looking to pick up some remnants here if he can. Earthbreaker hits, but he didn't find the knock-up. The damage into the wall is good from the driving strike, but it's not going to be enough to bring him down yet. But Hurrywind is running into an awkward place.
He's toast. There's no chance for him to get away.
He can get away. Have faith. Have faith. Ah, I've lost my faith.
Yeah, Fine OK is going to clean that up every time because he's got boots and Hurricane does not. He doesn't even have boots 1.
If the leap came up again, you never know, you know? Infinite cooldown, you could have been in a better place. Vetium, though, is in a better place than last game as well on this Cupid, up against Snoopy's Medusa for game 2. Snoopy really ran away with that lane against the Artemis, but Cupid's pressuring a lot better this time around.
And just because he has that threat of fighting you in the lane, in fact, Snoopy already had to use his purification beads and did not use the ultimate to try and get out of that Fields of Love, it looks like, that Vetium used in lane. So Vetium knows that he's got a good amount of time now that he could call Jigs over, get him to use that dazzling offense, or even Homie Faye. One gank could really spell a lot of trouble quickly for Snoopy.
Both these teams have such fantastic teamfight capabilities, though, so fireworks could go off at any moment when they start to group up. The Gold Fury will be the real point of contention that we'll see, but Sinosure with a great waxing moon to turn it around, and Homie Fa has bought him enough time for Ionic to come with a shield. Jigs will get a stun to Ionic, though. Cataclysm available, doesn't even get a chance to use it.
Love that play from Jigs. He hits the first 2 parts of dazzling offense on a Sinosure, then whips around the 180 and hits Ionic with it to stun him out and set up for his team. Great play out of the support from SoaR.
Walrus did rotate round there from the solo lane to try and support the team of Memory of Gabe, but it was a little bit too late there. The Oracles will go the way of SoaR Gaming as well. Double sustain for the dual lane, which we've not really mentioned now, and Snoopy's in trouble.
There's the Petrify to give him the CC immunity, but the Heart Bomb and the damage from Homie Faye is enough to put number 4 on the board for SoaR.
Really good play there, just recognizing the beats were still on cooldown from Snoopy. All they needed was the cripple from the Fields of Love to set up the range to get Homie Fa there for the stun.
And now it's Snoopy going to be even more in trouble for the next 30 seconds or so if someone comes back over. Fine OK, returning more damage than he took there while simultaneously clearing the wave. Smart plays out of the new solo laner for SoaR.
Would say a little bit risky from Walrus there, but he's been around the solo lane long enough now and started to be so much more respected than he was in the previous seasons. Now that he's on Memory of Gabe 2, to realize that he can dash away and hold on to that ultimate.
Walrus has been playing really, really well here today. I mean, game 2 and 3, even game 1 up against Oxygen Supremacy, Walrus was really the only reason in Memory of Gabe was even in that game. His Odin play was phenomenal. It's just that no matter how well you play Odin, he still doesn't do a lot of damage in the late game. That can't really help you there, and so Gabe ended up falling in game 1. But every game that we've seen Walrus, he's looked really, really strong so far.
Problem is, though, is he against Fine OK on that Hercules, who has already picked up 2 kills for himself in this game, has a small lead over Walrus right now, and on Hercules, going for the Breastplate of Valor. I'm not so sure about the Breastplate of Valor on Hercules right now, because of the fact that, yeah, you're going to get 20% CDR, but you could potentially overcap, because you're going to want Shield of Regrowth, which is the better item to get on Hercules.
That's true, but then you can get both and just sit at 40% CDR.
But Spirit Robe, man, you want that Spirit Robe.
Could prevent you from getting Spirit's Robe, but Spirit's Robe's passive is good enough to warrant going 10% CDR over the cap. And then in case you need to sell something in the later stages, then you're still sitting at 30% if you're selling one of your other CDR items. I really don't think it's a big enough deal to warrant taking that extra damage from Walrus in lane.
But we still see a couple of chalices coming out of the Oracle-wise as well for the time being. From multiple teams today, Ionic currently has one as well. Even though some of the pro players in Europe, like Emilzy especially, has been talking up a storm saying that he doesn't think it's worthwhile to pick it up. North America is still valuing it.
Yeah, poor Emilzy's probably just raging at home right now seeing Ionic pick it up. I know he was praising Neilmon for not picking it up earlier, but this Gold Fury is trying to get picked up by Gabe.
There's
the ultimate. Svetium going to do a lot of damage, but not steal it. Ionic shields out Snoopy, but the Gold Fury has to be leashed as Homie blinks in.
But Homie FA's not going to find a single target because Hurricane went back towards mid lane. He's going to get a lot of free poke in mid. The Sikkim did not find a home from Andy, but Hori's still going to die there. And a monster still available. Over the wall, didn't find the target. It was after, I think, Sinosure Aegis that.
You know, he uses 2. He got out of that with that immune. Ionic's locked in under that tower, and Fine OK ricochets the boulder off of Homie Faye's ultimate to pick up number 6 for SoaR.
Just an awkward position for Hurricane to be in more often than not. His decision of where to disengage from cost him quite a bit there. Not just because he died, but Ionic follows that up, and the Gold Fury being exposed at this moment, all thanks to Vetium's use of the Fields of Love.
Just perfectly timed, and that's the power of Cupid. It's so difficult to do Gold Furies while he's alive, because even if he can't steal it with the burst damage, he can certainly get you off the Gold Fury. Well, where in the world did Walrus just go?
He's not Waldo. Well, he's in base. That's all I can say for now. Gold Fury's down to half health. Now Snoopy's back. Sinosure here too. Waxing Moon is not available right now, but the Suns from Hurricane are... Sorry, my bad. The Petrify from Medusa is, I should say. Not the Sons from Horrorwind for the time being, but it will slow down SoaR going for the gold. They got a kill.
I don't mind SoaR peeling off that Gold Fury, though I think they might have been able to secure it. Ionic knocked up and into the wall. FineOK has been on point with it so far. There's the rollout, and he can't quite get in range to stop that body blocking, or body block the rollout, rather. So Ionic going to be able to escape 1 HP.
Oh, the boulder! No, not this time. FineOK really wanted down to Ionic, though. If they would have found that, they could have potentially looked for the Gold Fury again. Instead, Ionic will fall back to base, be able to heal back up again. Just want to go back to that Gold Fury from Memory of Gabe. That was really smart from them as well. When Vetium came in the Fields of Love, they realized that he could have A, potentially stole it, and B, they could have all been stunned out if they wanted to hold on to the aggro of that Gold Fury. The reset wasn't what they would have liked to do, but it was the correct call.
Sometimes you just have to play with the hand you're dealt, and in that situation, Gabe had to drop that Gold Fury and give it up. I mean, Snoopy ends up taking a lot of HP. 3 members get mezzed out by that Fields of Love anyways. And again, it just buys enough time for SoaR to get in there and respond. But SoaR's positioning has been very, very intelligent. It hasn't only just their map awareness has been phenomenal. The routes that Announcer has been taking to cut off Horrorwind on his escape, not only to get that kill in the mid lane right after that Gold Fury pull, but earlier on by that speed buff whenever he didn't have boots. Every member from SoaR is really paying attention to the map right now, and it seems obvious, yes, but there are times where that just doesn't happen, even at a pro level.
Well, now the warm-up for SoaR has been complete. The game 1, like I said, expected it to be more of a warm-up for them. Memory of Gabe were already fully charged by that point. Game 2, bit of a different story here. Small lead for SoaR, substantially enough, though, to continue the aggression on Horrorwind.
That Geb shield just saved Horrorwind's
and the Cataclysm,
life.
too.
Yeah, the Cataclysm big as well, but Ionic still gonna get stunned there. Now I'm a monster, but it's not enough. Deep. Snoopy defines Jigs. Homie Faye's gonna fall to SiNoSure as well.
FineOK round the back, though. He's just cutting off the escape route, the boulder. Double tap 1. SiNoSure's dancing like his life depends on it, because it really does. And FineOK mitigate wounds. That's balanced.
Oh, there's the crush. Vetium cleans up SiNoSure under the tower. It's only Walrus, the gigantic baby, up against 3, but it's SoaR with the deicide up against Gabe.
And now they can head straight over to the Gold Fury, not necessarily because they've got a lot of health left, but they do have that Hunter that can put out substantial damage to this at any given moment. Gold Fury will fall to SoaR here. This will extend their gold lead above the 3,000 mark.
And again, just goes back to FineOK's positioning. He is 4-0-5. He's been a part of 9 of the 12 kills at the 12-minute mark for SoaR. And I don't want to say I told you so, Hindu, but putting him on a pressure warrior that allows him to rotate earlier and make an impact in the team fight has made a huge difference here for SoaR.
Well, Memory of Gabe trying to make a difference now with the pole demon to answer back the Gold Fury. They lost the ricochet off the wall, hit Homie FA, and I don't think he really wanted that. Forced to stun Walrus and walk away, more like limp away back to safety, but FineOK has had time to teleport into the back to pull them off the portal demon.
Big bad FineOK is here. Jigs dashes forward as Homie Faye cleans up Walrus, who went a little bit too deep. Ionic falls to Jigs. The support kills the support. Meditation popped there by SoaR. 2 meditations actually simultaneously burst healed Jigs and FineOK up to full HP.
And now the Portal Demon could go the way of SoaR here. This is almost a rinse repeat of game 1, but for the other team.
It's not quite as dominant as Gabe was in game 1.
Hang on a second. Go to the graphs, please, cameraman. I just want to show you guys at home how big the gold difference and experience difference is already, because it's starting to get to that point, aggro. You can see the level difference right now, even without the graphs. There's a 3-level lead right now for FineOK. The gold difference is over 6,000.
I do remember that SiNoSure was up 4 levels at this stage in the game. Homie Faye was level 8 when Sino was level 12, but I understand the point you're trying to make, and I think it brings a lot to the broadcast, and I agree with you.
It's fine. Graphs aren't that important right now. 14-4, though, with SiNoSure and Snoopy a little bit too far overextended, but they'll be able to cut through the jungle back to safety, even though they stepped on a ward there, and this is more concerned with getting farm, which, as he should be, as a Scylla.
Now, SoaR, when they were in game 1, they didn't have that late-game potential. They had a little bit with Vetium on the Artemis, but it wasn't nearly as potent as Gabe has in this game. If they are able to weather the storm and get this game to the 28, 29-minute mark, they've got 2 Hunters, they've got an excellent late-game support in Gabe, and they've got SiNoSure on the Chang'e, who's one of the most difficult characters to deal with in the later stages of the game. Just a matter of getting there is the problem right now.
I'm just a little more concerned about, like, yeah, if they get to that point, how big is Hercules going to be, and how big is Scylla going to be on the other team to have to deal with?
Look, they can only hit level 20, man. It's not like they're going to keep going up. Once they hit level 20, you just got to wait. You just gotta
Imagine
wait
if they did. Imagine if you just keep going.
Season 7.
How about Season 5?
Yeah, maybe.
It'll be on Reddit. If the Reddit really want it, then we'll do it. That's generally what happens. So we'll find out. 14-4 right now still is we're waiting for the next Gold Fury or the Portal Demon to come available. No one's going to look for a Fire Giant in 14.5 minutes in for the time being. It's just a farm fest, but there's the experience lead. Look at it, 9,500. This is the game one all over again. It's just SoaR in control.
It's very, very significant, and they've got a lot of... Control is the main word. That's been the real difference maker for SoaR in this game. It's just the amount of raw CC they have on this team. What do you beads? You beads the dazzling offense, you get stunned by Homie Phase, 1 of 2 stuns, and then you get trembled. If you beads the Fields of Love, you get rooted by Aninster or plucked by FineOK. There's just not enough beads on the side of a Memory of Gabe to really handle how much CC SoaR has.
Jigs looking to contest the back Harpies right now. Very confident with Aninster in support there. They will get those back Harpies as well, just to add insult to injury of them even being that deep in the jungle at this stage.
I like this decision from SoaR to group up right now, though. They have the experience lead. No reason to allow Gabe to farm up their lanes.
Here we go. Homie goes in with the stun on the Ionic. The burst damage is great. And see you later, Ionic. Back to base you go. I'm a monster from Aninster's primed, but I don't think he'll find a target.
Not quite yet. Heroine going to be able to walk right out of that one, but Tier 1 tower is going to fall. FineOK dashes forward, trying to find the pull back, but Heroine's going to be able to dive bomb out of danger in that scenario.
Got to be a little bit careful of Walrus rotating him around the back. SoaR should recognize this as FineOK has come over, but in a 4v5, they may still feel confident, even with a lack of ultimates.
And FineOK has to remember, along with Jigs, and even Vedium, I suppose, with those hearts, that Chang'e has a lot of anti-heal built into that kit. If Sinosure decides to go for Divine Ruin, it could really shut down a lot of what SoaR brings to the table.
SoaR got the tier 1, and they'll strip away that red buff on the left-hand side. On top of that, Memory of Gabe will have to settle for the speed buff on a 4-man share. No, it's only a 3. Walrus realized it would have been terrible to 4-man share. You always know things are going bad when you're 4-man sharing camps.
That's all. Yeah, that is the worst, because you're already behind, and you're like, hey, at least I get my own buff, except it's cut 4 ways. Barely even counts for golden experience at that point.
FineOK on this Hercules. We've talked him up a little bit so far. We've not seen him all day. We've been waiting for this moment, but his stat lines, when you look back at how well he's done, very high KDA, low deaths though is the big point there, where he's not dying a lot for a solo laner who's engaging. He's been playing very well for a new guy to the solo, well, to the SPL.
Even in game 1, he didn't die a whole lot. Compared to the rest of the members of SoaR, it really wasn't like he was the one who was having a lot of trouble. He was doing okay on that side.
He was fine.
You could say that, yes, I suppose. Either way, he was just doing well in that solo lane in game 1. This time he's doing even better. 4-0-6 on this Hercules. He's got that 7 KDAs right underneath Aninster in terms of top damage.
Do you want to see FineOK try and focus down the tier 1 tower on this right-hand side, or do you want to keep Walrus pinned in this lane?
I don't care where Walrus is. I just want FineOK in these fights because he's changing the course of them every time he's there.
So then if he takes down the tier 1 tower, it does allow him to rotate a little bit more?
In a way, yes, and that's 500 gold in favor of SoaR. So I don't think that it's necessary to keep Walrus pinned in that lane is what I'm saying. It doesn't,
sure.
If Walrus is there, it doesn't really make much of a difference. He's only level 14. Aninster's got a 2-level lead over him. He's the same level as Homie Faye and Jigs. Vedium's got a 2-level lead over Walrus. It doesn't really matter.
Well, the Gold Fury's already gone down. Portal Demon's about to come up, but it was SoaR setting a trap in the jungle. The bad news is Memory Gabe didn't bite, so they've got to force the issue anyway. Heroine's forced to Aegis, and he's still going to fall down here. A couple of hits, but Ionic Shield comes into play.
The great ult out of Sinosure and the heals, but finally Aninster shows up and just crushes him down like it ain't no thing, basically.
And now they can go straight over to the Portal Demon as well. Right-hand side, FineOK is positioning nicely to keep Walrus at bay, keep him trapped away. Walrus should see this Portal Demon going down, but I don't think he's going to get a response from his team, so once again, SoaR extend their lead.
Jigs wants to do this Fire Giant. Someone just back there. Homie Faye just backed, but again, they do have the portal. Aninster's in mid lane. Walrus doesn't know this is going on. This Fire Giant, he just now hears it happening, but it's already pretty low. Walrus trying to get in there to the pit. Love the play.
Oh, he got it! He got it, but he may pay the iron price for it. Meanwhile, the rest of his team on the left-hand side, they're going to get a tier 1, probably a tier 2 as well. What a play from Walrus! You zone him out, but you can't zone out the range damage.
That's just... How does that happen? How does that happen?
What you do is you press 3 on the mana when the Fire Giant is low.
See, but normally the enemy team will attack the Fire Giant to make sure that it doesn't get low enough to get to that point.
Fine, okay, back on defense, catches the rollout of Ionic there, and the worst position for him to be in because Komi Efe is on the way. That's forcing SideShot to stay behind and protect too. Ionic gets hit again, this time Cataclysm and Waxing Moon to get Ionic out, but this bought enough time for SoaR on the right-hand side to answer back the Tier 1 and Tier 2 tower that Memory of Gabe got on the left.
So SoaR at least gets something, but in Memory of Gabe got exactly the same on the opposite side of the map. 2,000 gold for each team, exactly, except Gabe, they have the Fire Giant. It is only on 3 members. It's only on SoaR, Ionic, and Snoopy, but those are some pretty good members to have it on. You'd like Heroin to have that buff to get him that extra objective damage, but either way, you're much happier having 3 members with it than watching 5 members of SoaR storm you down with it.
And let's be honest, normally at this stage of the game, when you look at how far ahead SoaR are, you're looking at how many wins in a row Memory of Gabe have to get back to an even keel. The Fire Giant is one of those wins, but how many more do they need? Is it like 3 or 4 of these big fights that have to go their way?
If they get a clean, if they get, if they trade 3 for 1 or 4 for 2, something like that, it would only take them 2 team fight wins in that sort of heavy-handed win nature in order to recoup this gold lead that they've kind of lost at this stage. SoaR, they can realistically end the game in the exact same 2 fights.
Well, Memory of Gabe, even though they are still behind considerably, they're looking to try and pressure the Tier 1 in mid with Homie on the right-hand side. Problem is the Fields of Love and Boulder combination, and Jigs' stun following that up will allow them to pick up at least Ionic. Fine, okay, with a double kill, and Anister's wrapped round the back.
I'm a monster, can't quite find SoaR, but dashing forward, Vedium hits Walrus, and Andy gets the last hit there. 4-0 and 11 for the mid laner. Heroin finds an exit into his own jungle, but another fight goes the way of SoaR. This time they get the Tier 2 tower, and it looks like the Phoenix is next too.
Yeah, the problem with that engagement there, we were just talking about, like, yeah, it gave him a window, but it's not a window that you can start being aggressive all of a sudden. You are still down a considerable amount.
Yeah.
You group up in mid like that, and you're against a team that's that far ahead, you're going to disappear.
Everyone feels real confident until 2 of you get hit with Scylla Root for like 700 damage. And all of a sudden, that confidence starts to go away a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
And now with that, just a little bit, 2 Phoenixes go down, middle and right. Only the left-hand lane is completely still standing for Memory of Gabe. The small window of hope in their arsenal.
But the problem is that this Gold Fury is going to respawn soon, so this just puts extra incentive for SoaR to go to this left-hand side, clear out both towers and the Gold Fury, and then they're sitting up 2,000 gold, 20,000 gold rather, and Gabe is just kind of like, all right.
Well, back to square one for Memory of Gabe. We mentioned a couple more fights that go in a row. Well, they had Fire Giant and 3 members then, but they couldn't make anything happen. The next Fire Giant, I think we'll see SoaR be a little bit better at making sure nobody like Vamana can Umbrella Rangan.
I agree with you. You have to do better than that. You can't do much worse in terms of losing a Fire Giant to a, what was it, a level 14 Vamana at the time?
I think the only way that could get worse is if a minion steals it.
Have you ever seen that before?
If a minion steals an objective, no one gets it.
Have you ever seen that before?
I have.
Have you?
Yes.
Could you show me the replay?
Me and F got queued together and it happened in our game.
Is it because you guys didn't properly secure a Fire Giant?
Yeah, because F was my solo laner.
It could be anything. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where Vedium is. Turn around!
Vedium's ages will keep him alive, but the walls come down from Cabrakan and traps his own teammate for his death. And it says I'm a monster isn't even needed to find a home there as the rest of SoaR are cleaning house.
There's the kill again. Fine, okay. 9 kills now for the new solo laner. Heroin is just watching as his solo laner falls. Heroin still 1 HP. What are you doing, dude? Run away! He was out! Heroin was out, and then he comes back in. Anister secures the deicide.
That is a moment in the game where Memory of Gabe realized they can't come back into it. I just want to point out that Homie Efe killed his own teammate, and they still win the game. That's how far ahead they are. He literally walled his own team into a really awkward spot, and they still won the fight.
That's one of those moments that everyone has had in a team game where your teammate just really gives you the screws.
That's where there is no team.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's like, team? No, we're not on a team anymore. Teti on the left-hand side will fall the final one left standing for Memory of Gabe right now. We're going to game 3 here, Aggro.
It looks like it. 25-5, 24 minutes in, over 15,000, right around 16,000 gold in the lead. So we're not even worried about the Gold Fury at this stage. And oh, by the way, Gabe's Titan, it's about half HP from those fire minions that were pouring in from mid and right.
Sure. why not? Just continue to allow the minions to do the work for you while you continue to fight in the jungle and win the fights as well. Portal Demon on the right-hand side will go down momentarily. Even though it's warded up here, it's not going to be available for anyone to teleport to right now, although FineOK could if he wanted to.
What if Friendly Fire was on in Smite?
I'm down. I'd kill you every game.
You would.
I would. I'd queue with you just for fun.
You try to do it anyways. You mirror wall.
All right, round 2. Where's Walrus? Can we get a zoom in on Walrus, please? I want to find out where he is and how far away can he get here in time.
Umbrella Rang.
He could have potentially done that. I'm not being funny. He may have done it.
Global Umbrella Rang.
So Yarn Assault is what you're telling me.
No, but then it comes back.
On an umbrella. Oh my god.
And it slows.
Oh my god. And it does the same damage as Yarn Assault.
Well, duh, yeah, of course.
Has to, right?
Well, yeah, you're thinking about making a Yarn Assault not do Yarn Assault damage numbers? Come on.
That would be silly. Left-hand side, though, is the final Phoenix that still remains. The middle and the right are still alive right now. So he's still down right now, but they're about to respawn, so there is a small, and I keep saying this, there is a small glimmer of hope from Memory of Gabe. But we saw them get a Fire Giant from a small glimmer of hope, and that glimmer still just stayed a glimmer.
Snuffed out immediately by SoaR after that, who just looked, as bad as they looked in Game 1, they've looked equally good in Game 2. This draft just changed everything.
So
for this
Game
team.
3 should be an absolute barn burner.
Oh, we're here for 78 minutes.
Ionic is trapped. He's going to heal up with a meditate, but he's not going to last long once those fields of luck detonate. FineOK is getting low, but he's still a Hercules and he'll boulder back. Walrus runs through to create a distraction, but the distraction doesn't last that long either when you've got a full level 20 composition to deal with, at least in FineOK and Vetium's terms. SinoSure
and Heroin can only watch or get plucked back out of Phoenix or Fountain and potentially die to Vetium one more time. 29-5, SoaR.